Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming this afternoon. I think we all know why we're here. It's to introduce Steve Clarke, our new manager at Reading Football Club. So, without further ado, I'll allow you to come in with your inevitable questions.
Steve, it's been 12 months you've been out of work as a manager. Why now and why Reading?
Circumstances. I think Reading's a club with good potential. It's obviously a club that was recently in the Premier League. I look forward to trying to help them get back to where they want to be.
You mentioned that goal getting back in the Premier League. What's a realistic target this season, and how long do you give yourself to do that?
No, I don't think you're never going to sit here and give yourself a time schedule or a time scale. All I can promise the supporters of Reading is that I come in here, I give 100%. I try to get the team successful on the pitch, and we try to do that as quickly as possible. The Championship is a league that can very quickly change, and we hope to change for the better.
Do you believe you've got the squad to do that at the moment?
Yeah, on first glance at the squad, I know a lot of the players. I think there's good talent in the squad, and it's a squad that we should and hopefully we can be competitive in this division.
Do you envisage strengthening in January? Do you know if there'll be funds available yet? Yeah, we can strengthen in January. You have to understand the constrictions now of financial fair play, which the club have explained to me. It's a club that 2 years ago was in the Premier League, so you still have to adapt from that period to dropping into the Championship. So there's not millions and millions and millions of pounds to spend, because only the top clubs in the Premier League can do that now. You have to be prudent, you have to be careful, but we have enough in the squad just now, and certainly I'm going to give those boys first crack. They deserve it. They're here at the club, and I'll take my time to assess the squad and the group of players, and hopefully as I'm doing that we can still be successful in picking up 3 points on the Saturdays. Some fans will look at it, it's been a very swift appointment.
You're telling me.
Have you had longer to get used to the idea, or how long were talks on?
No, listen, it's been very, very quick. Obviously, unfortunately, the previous manager, Nigel, lost his job at the weekend. The good thing for me was I was the club's preferred candidate, and the good thing for the club was I was out of work. So very quickly we could come together. I spoke last night initially with Nigel. We had a fantastic conversation. He explained the vision of the club, where the club was at just now, what they wanted to do going forward. The contractual side of the business was completed very quickly. That was easy for me to do.
Sorry, have you had any other offers while you've been?
Yeah, I've had one or two. I've had 1 or 2 offers to come back in, but listen, I always said when I was out, I was in a really fortunate position, and I've been quite successful, I think, in my career. So I could afford to take a bit of time, relax, get ready to come back into this profession, which can be a little bit stressful at times. And I was well prepared for it. I was waiting for a club that I felt gave me the chance to build and get. Ideally, I'd like to be in the Premier League, but if the next choice is to drop to the Championship, which it is, then you want to be at a club where you have a realistic chance of being in the Premier League as quickly as possible, and that's what Reading give me.
Steve, I suppose this is a two-answer question. What are the ambitions?
Difficult questions already.
What are the ambitions here, short and long term?
Ambitions are to be back in the Premier League. I don't think there's no point in beating around the bush and saying there's anything else. You have to be back in the Premier League. If we can get back to the Premier League quickly, great. If it takes a little bit more time, but things are developing the right way and the club is progressing in the right manner, then fine.
How do you regard the state of play right now in terms of this season? Because the Championship is such a tight league.
It's a very strange league, the Championship. I think on any given match day, any team can beat any other team. If you look at it, the position Reading Football Club, which is the only position I look at just now, they're 7 points above the relegation zone, but they're only 10 points away from the playoff zone. So obviously we want to close the gap on the teams above us and start moving up the table as quickly as possible.
Do you see the potential in the existing squad that you're inheriting to move up the table quickly?
Yeah, I think the potential is there. It's a squad that started the season well. Obviously they've had more difficult times recently, which is probably why I'm sitting here. And I think there's enough in the squad just now. We can certainly look at one or two possible additions over the January window, which everybody will tell you is a difficult window to get the right players. And we won't bring in players just for the sake of bringing in players. We'll try to bring in the right players at the right time. So at the moment, the current squad, they're the guys in possession. All they have to do is go out and play well at the weekend or on match days, prove to everybody that they deserve to be here, and everyone will be happy.
Things went well initially for you at West Brom, then things changed very quickly, as often do in football. Do you feel you have a point to prove to anyone?
No, I've got no point to prove to anybody. I think my time at West Brom was successful. That's my take on it. I look back on the work that I did there with a lot of pride. I enjoyed my time. Unfortunately, it finished a little bit prematurely, but that's what happens. That's the nature of modern day football. I think the only thing I can say on West Brom at the moment is that since I left, I don't think things have significantly improved. So it's a club it is where it is, and maybe I feel a little bit hard done by that, but delighted to be back in here at Reading Football Club.
And can you just tell us what the characteristics of a Steve Clarke team will be, what will Reading fans see out there on the field?
Well, hopefully they'll see a team that's enthusiastic, competitive in every match, difficult to beat. And if you can do that while playing fantastic football, then everybody's happy. But Steve Clarke teams like to win. And that's what I hope to try and put out onto the pitch, a team that knows how to win matches.
So John, can I ask you why Steve, and how did you come to the decision so quickly?
It was a decision made by the shareholders, all of us, and you know, Steve reached all the credentials that we needed to take over the position at Reading. And I'd just like to say at this stage, we wish Nigel Atkinson all the best for the future. So yes, it was a unanimous decision, and that we moved very quickly because the shareholders wanted to move very quickly, and that's exactly what we've done.
And in terms of funds in January, will they be available?
That is something that we've discussed internally, and as Steve's already intimated, we had the football fair play, so it's not quite as straightforward as it probably used to be, where you could look forward to spending as much as you wanted to. We have to be very careful because of the residue of the last time we were back in the Premier League, so we've got to be very, very mindful of that as we move forward, but we'll do whatever we can to assist in terms of building on what we already have.
For you, are the playoffs a reasonable objective for this season?
I think promotion would be a reasonable objective for me at this moment, because why not, as the manager's just intimated, that anything's possible. We go into Christmas and we do our darn best to get as high up the charts as we possibly can, and nothing's out of the consideration of what we might be able to achieve.
Will Steve be given time to achieve that?
Well, of course Steve will be given time. He just arrived this afternoon, but I mean, I'm sure, you know, he's already on the case and so on and so forth. So yes, I mean, you know, it'd be folly to imagine that anything's going to happen between now and the next God knows how long. But anyway, we're looking forward to the future and sort of turning Reading football around for the better and getting some positive results.
Hi, back to you, Steve. What are your thoughts of working with Sir John?
Great. Great football man, especially in the town of Reading. I've actually lived down in the south of England now since 1987, so it's an area that I know well. It's a football club that I know well. And obviously what Sir John did for the club is fantastic, and it's great to be sitting here beside him just now, along with Nigel, who nobody wants to ask any questions. But no, it's good to be here, and it's always good when people like Sir John are passionate about a football club, and he's shown that over the years. He's responsible for everything you see around here now, and that's a fantastic tribute to Sir John, and hopefully I can carry on the good work and get the club, like I said before, back to where we think it should be, which is in the Premier League.
Steve, how do you rally the spirits? Because Reading is in a tough place at the moment. How do you rally your players in the coming days ahead of Saturday's match?
And I think you just, hopefully normally in football when you make a change there can be a little bounce factor. Hopefully we get that. Sometimes you get it in a positive way, sometimes you get it in a negative way, so we hope for the positive effect of a change of manager. I'll remind the players of their duties and what it is that they're trying to achieve here at Reading Football Club. Sometimes when the pressure comes on, you can lose sight of the the long-term picture, and you get caught in the moment. And when you're losing matches, it's difficult. It's easy to be caught in that moment and to think that everything's doom and gloom, but it's not. I'll explain to them that we're not so far away from where we need to be, and hopefully they'll take it on board. There's not so much I can do between now and the weekend in terms of playing style and whatever, but just try to get into the players' head and give them a positive frame of mind, and hopefully start with a good win at the weekend against Watford.
Steve, have you got into a position to be able to name your backroom staff?
No, it's something, like I said, this has happened very, very quickly. So the backroom staff, there's one or two names that I've got in mind to come in and help me. I won't name them because it's not fair, because they're working at other clubs just now, but anybody who knows me and where I've been in recent years, I'll be able to work out who I'm thinking of bringing in. But at the moment we're just working on that, and I'm just getting my head around the fact that I'm the manager of Reading Football Club, and looking forward to getting out on the training pitch with the players and getting things back in order and getting the right results.
Just one last question from me for Sir John or to Nigel. You've long been the continuity and the public faces of this club. A lot of fans though will kind of still be wondering who makes the key decisions now, who presses the button, who ultimately signs off the major decisions like the one that's been made in the last day.
Well, I think, our partners, all the shareholders, obviously, but then again, the club's is still run by the same people that are running it for the past 24 years odd. I mean, as you know, Nigel, my chief executive, has been with us for many, many years, so he runs the club, the footballing side of the club. And we've got a very good team here at Reading, and I'm glad, absolutely delighted that the new shareholders subscribe to that and allow us to get on with that. And that's wonderful. They're private people. They don't want to be necessarily exposed to the media and so on and so forth, but nevertheless, they're totally and utterly supportive of Reading Football Club, and we're all doing the best we possibly can, and it's a great tribute to everybody at the football club as we move forward, that they've all been so helpful in everything that we do at Reading Football. It's a great credit to them. And the football club's about everybody, not just about me or about Nigel. It's about the team that we have, and we're very proud of that legacy. And it was nice to hear Steve sort of echoing those sentiments about what a great club Reading is, and thanks for that, Steve. And I think the shareholders recognise that as well. So we all move forward together.
So whose call was it over the weekend? The shareholders saying to you, we're going to make a change, or you saying to the shareholders, we need to make a change?
I think it was done in unison, actually. So I'm not going to start playing that game, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Can I ask you what characteristics you see in Steve, and also when did you first approach him?
Well, Steve, as was said, I've got a lot of experience in football. Steve's name has cropped up with many of my colleagues in other clubs as a potential manager when they've been looking to change. He's been on our radar. He lives locally, so in a way, and his reputation as a coach, a manager, couldn't be beaten. So it was an easy choice as far as I was concerned, and he was available. So he didn't have to go through a lot of issues to get to get him signed. So basically, once I discussed Nigel's termination with him, then I was able to move on and talk to Steve.
So there was no overlap at all?
No.